Now what we're going to do is we're going to be gluing the tabs down and the back in place. Plus, we're going to glue in a couple of supports. Now, we're going to do these supports before we glue the back on. And to do that, I use some of the little scrap materials that I have. And I'm just going to add glue to two sides like that. And then place it into position. This is roughly the same size as the side piece. They're a little crookedy. It's just, I'd rather just use up my scraps. They don't have to be perfect. No one's ever going to see these. And I press them into place like that. They don't have to be perfect. Now we can glue in this back piece here and put more glue. So what we're going to do is we're going to put glue here, 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 and here, and along this back portion here. So wait a minute, let me get that kind of bent this way. So let's add some glue here, some glue here, some glue here, and now some right on the surface here. I'm going to be a little bit more generous with the glue here because there's a little bit more of a space. And I know that glue will dry nice and hard and help keep everything where it's supposed to go. Okay. Now, all I have to do, I think I'm going to, you see this little bit right here? I don't really like that. That was from a previous cut. I'm just going to flip it around to the inside because I don't want to see it. And now, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and glue those down. I think I'm going to wait on gluing these tabs down, and I'm going to put it underneath something that's a little heavy to hold this into contact with this piece, if that makes any sense. And then I want to show you a different method for putting this top piece on. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to put the book on top. Let's see if I can not hit that with my hand too much, because I've got these pieces that are drying. Place that right there gently, gently. Okay, so what I want to show you here is I did this one a little differently. And part of the reason I did it differently is I wanted to see, because these tabs are so tiny and holding them in place was kind of bugging me. So part of me was wondering, maybe I really don't need those tabs so much to hold things down as long as I have this here. So that meant gluing in this piece first, which I just glued it in almost exactly the same way as I glued in the back portion. So I think I kind of like how that has turned out. I also want to point out that this bottom part used to be red. I changed it mostly because of what I want to do with the knobs or the pulls on this piece. And I wanted them to be in certain colors that were more pastel-ish. So that's the reason I changed that. What I did was I took a white pen and I went over the red twice, and then got another pink pen and went over it, I think, once, just to kind of make it look more pinkish. I think if I'd gone over it with something like blue, that wouldn't have worked. So what we're going to do here is we're going to glue this portion on. And to do this, I'm going to, actually, let's go ahead. I think at this point, I've given you like several different ways to do things. And again, there's the teacher part of me is wanting to make sure that if the method that I use is something that just seems really kind of off the wall and yucky, and you try it and you're like, oh, I did not like that method at all, that I've also given you some other alternatives to use. Now, I don't expect those to stick down. I really don't. And now I'm going to come in here and add some glue here. And see there, the little tab is starting to pop up already. like this method that I use for spreading glue down. This works for me, but I've been doing it for years. It may not work for you. That's okay. You want to use a different method or a different type of glue? You be you. Okay, now I'm going to flip this upside down. And I'm going to give it a little press. I also made a mistake with one of these. Is it this one? No, it's the other one. In which, remember I was using these clamps? I mistakenly picked up a piece of white paper that had some like tacky bits of glue on the one side, and when I pinched it down to the surface, it pulled up some of the copy because, of course, it had glue on it. So look carefully at your pieces before you do that. So I'm going to fold this one in half. There is no glue on this one. And then I'm going to put this here. And now I will put a clamp on. And a clamp on. And I might dig around and find another clamp. Let me see if I can. I try to put everything so it's like at in easy reach when I'm working. There, let's add one more right there. That shouldn't take too long to dry. And then I can glue on the back portion. Now, I'll set that over there. I want to show you, I've got these that are ready to go, and we know how we're going to be gluing these together. We're going to be gluing these up first, and I think I'm going to do this method over here again, where I glue this in first. Any supports for this one can go either vertically or horizontally, and again, I'll show that. But for right now, I want to talk about the tops of these pieces. And you can see here, I've got this rounded bit. I didn't sand this one very much. And it's just a little bit of an edge around the outside. And I think it adds a little bit more to the piece, which I like quite a bit. So what I did was I went through and pre-measured a couple of these pieces, and they're a little big. And I've gone ahead and colored part of this side, the one that will pop out. This one will be going on that lighter wood, and then I have some that'll be going on the darker wood. Now to glue those together, because this is one of the smaller ones that I'll be using, I'm using the color printout on one side, one piece of scrap, and a second piece of scrap. That's about the best width. You can make it bigger if you want. Now, you're wondering, where did I get the paper? Remember in the downloads, I put, I think it's 10 different kinds, 8 or 9 different, maybe 8 different kinds of just pages that had wood printed on them. And this is one of them. I got this one out of a Victorian like style guide, like a book of taste. They talk a lot in Victorian times about how your taste should be this way or that way. So I just took this file that I had been using and placed it in the document and printed it out. So in case you had anything that you wanted to replace or you wanted to change around, or say you don't want to do this, you don't want to wrap this at all, you can just cut out pieces of wood and put them right on top of that support board underneath, and it'll look great. So that's where this came from. Now, to get these together, this is something that we've done before. This is something we did with the chairs. Like, think the backs of the side chairs. We glued together. Those are 3 pieces of heavyweight paper thick. So I'm starting out with the first one. And you notice I've made this bigger than the piece of paper. Let's get that off of there. Man, glue gets everywhere. Okay. I'll be able to get that off a little bit. So there's the first one. Oh, wait a minute. What did I just do? How did that... Oh, I know what that is. It's the wrong piece of paper. Okay. This is the back. This goes here. And now I'm going to come through here because I don't like wasting anything. And I'm going to glue this down. Can't believe I did that. And again, I'm showing you that I made the mistake because gotta keep it 100. Gotta keep it 100. I didn't even wait to smooth the glue around. I just glued it straight down. And you can see this is a little bumpily underneath. I'm going to do this again. And then the next thing I'm going to do is glue another piece underneath it. I put these under in the book to dry, and you can still see, even when I pulled them out, they begin to bow a little bit. Part of that has to do with the paper itself and how paper is made. Heavyweight paper, I mean, I think we've all had the test of you take a piece of paper. Let me see if I can find a piece of paper here that I can grab and tear. Let's use this one. When you look at a piece of paper, you can, if you want, hold it up to the light and you can kind of see which direction the grain is going to go. But if you take a piece of paper and begin tearing it, you know that the grain in this paper, all the little fibers are running vertically in this piece of paper. This was a 9 by 12 piece of paper. Now, if I try to tear it, well, wait a minute. Nope, these are running vertical. This one tears a little bit more raggedy along this one edge. I'm also using drawing paper, which could have something to do with that. And I try to make sure that if the paper runs this way in the print, then the piece of paper underneath it is the opposite, and then I keep turning them. So when the paper is contracting and expanding, it's fighting against other pieces running at right angles. If that makes any sense. Does that make any sense? So I'm going to actually end up showing you how to cut one of these out because I totally muffed this. This one's going to be, I guess, okay. Well, maybe not, because it's going to have that same bumpy stuff here. So you can see I've got the piece of paper, and then this is what I've goofed up. So I don't want to make marks on the front of this. So I don't want to say I have to fly blind, but I can situate where I want things to go. So it's this corner here. And again, I'm trying really hard not to make you measure anything, but use the Katie Lazy methods for doing these things. Let's make a new back for this piece. Where's my blade? Okay. So, trying very hard to keep my blade straight up and down. And here's the new back piece for this piece. This one's a little bit larger. So I'm going to put that over there and not touch it. And then I'm going to use this piece that's already been made. Let's see. I think I'll do it right here. Is that the right way? Yeah. I'm going to put this down. And again, I'm not drawing. I don't want to trace down so heavily that I make an indentation on the other side of the paper. So here is the new piece. This is what happens when I'm talking and not paying attention to what I'm doing. So there's the new top for this piece. And I can now glue this down to the correct piece of paper. Man. See, I make way more mistakes than anybody realizes. I just try very hard to be like, what is it they say? Iron Man. Tony learns from his mistakes. So I try very hard to learn from my mistakes. That if I've done something goofy like that, it's like, oh, don't do that again. That makes you look not very smart. Let me see if I can put that down without... Oh, that's much better. Much better, much better, much better. Let's see, do I have another little hunk of paper here? Nope, not one that's quite small enough. So I'm going to show you how I do this with... Because I hate wasting anything. I think I can use these two pieces. I hate wasting things. Wasting things makes my brain hurt. Actually, that little piece, that little teeny piece go, makes my brain hurt. Where'd it go? And I put it in the trash and now I can't find it. So, I also feel as though, because I don't have a whole lot of money to work with, that it behooves me to not only use my supplies well, but that I don't waste them. There is no throw it in the trash and do it over again for me. I very rarely, if ever, do that. First of all, it's just wasteful. I don't want to be wasteful. Okay, I'm going to put this one right here. And this is just a smidgen, just a smidgen too close to that edge. And we're going to hide that anyway, so don't worry about it. And that will go right there. So now I can trim that down. So now you see how I just butt things up against each other. And I'll use this little piece somewhere else. This I can now put inside the book and lay it down flat. And it should glue into place. Now, because we've been working so much, I now have this piece glued together. And you can see I've got the top is glued down, the back is glued down. What we need to do now is glue these tabs down. We need to glue the bottom on, and we need to glue the back piece on. So, like in the other piece, okay, this is the blue piece. Right. Yeah. So this will be going here, and it's so much easier to glue on now than it is once these are glued down. So let's see, let's find, where's the back piece? Here's the back piece. Okay, so let's glue in this bottom piece. I'm going to add a little bit more glue in here. In this little area, you can kind of see where it doesn't quite touch. This is me just, I don't know why I feel the need to make sure that these pieces, the pieces that I make, are like so glued together. It's not even funny. It's like, it's not like they're going to be in a like played with or anything. I guess I just don't want them to, oops, get messed up. Let me get that out of there. Okay, and now I'm going to add some glue around these three edges. I didn't do it this way last time, and I think this is a better way. So again, doing these demonstrations really forces me into thinking, how am I doing this? Why am I doing it this way? Is there a better way to do it? Okay, I think a little bit more right there. Okay, now I've got those glued, and there's glue here, and I'm just going to pop this into place. Press it in, and I'm going to hold this down. I made this one fit really, really snugly. I'm not exactly sure why I felt the need to make it fit so snugly. Maybe it's because yesterday I had some bulgy little areas that I didn't like very much, and that could be part of it. Now, while I'm sitting here and holding this, we might as well glue in this section, and that section, this tab, and this tab. So, and I don't want to go any lower than that. So I'm making sure my glue is in here. Okay, and then I can hold these down. And like I said, sometimes you just need to stop and hold these pieces down for a while. So don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad about that at all. Okay, this video is getting just a teensy bit long, and my camera doesn't handle much more than like 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this under some weights. I'm going to get the other one glued up and get the back on it, and then I want to show you how we're going to cut these pieces, these bigger pieces, so, and then attach those to the tops of each of these pieces, the 2 drawer and the 3 drawer. So I'll see you in the next video.